Look at me! I am the gym leader now! It can be quite fun to imagine yourself as a gym leader in the Pokemon world, so I'm gonna do that, but take it to the next level. Here are what my gyms would be if I was a gym leader in each of the 9 mainline regions. I have 3 rules though. Number 1, my team must be comprised entirely of Pokemon from a version of that region's regional dex. For example, I'm not using Lucario in Kanto. Number 2, my ace must be an introduced in that region Pokemon or form, with one exception that we'll get to later. And number 3, I cannot copy the type specialty of any other gym leader in that region. But I can overlap with the Elite Four or Champion because that's been done a bunch of times before. We begin in Kanto. For most of my gyms, I'm gonna choose the location after the type specialty because the type specialty could help dictate where the gym should be. But for this region, I'm doing the opposite. Fuchsia City has always intrigued me. Basically, the whole town is a literal zoo, and then on top of that, it houses the Safari Zone, a wildlife preserve. Well, at least it does in Gens 1 and 3. Gens 2 and 4 have neither the zoo nor Safari Zone, and Gen 7 has Pokemon just wandering around and still no Safari Zone. But let's focus on Gens 1 and 3, those are the traditional Kanto experiences. Because of these two aspects, Fuchsia City is very clearly a wildlife-focused town. So I find it a bit strange that the gym leader is a ninja that uses pollution Pokemon. So I am replacing him. If I was a Kanto gym leader, I would take Koga's place in Fuchsia City when he leaves for the Elite Four. Take that, Janine, you dumb Nepo baby! This does bring up an important note for the video though. Generally, I'm gonna try to choose gym towns that do not already have another gym in them. But I won't always be able to do that. Some of the earlier regions just don't have enough options, and then other times there's an existing gym town that's just too perfect of a fit for me to pass up. Here in Kanto, my only no gym town options are Pallet and Lavender. Pallet is too small, and while I could go to Lavender, I don't want to. Creeps me out. But back to Fuchsia, I basically want to take both Koga's and the Safari Zone Warden's jobs, so I can specialize in unique and rare wild Pokemon. And counterintuitively, that leads to a specialty of normal. Sure, there are normal types everywhere, like Rattata and a lot of the birds, but there are others that are so rare and unique, you might even be able to consider them endangered. Tauros, Kangaskhan, and Chansey are the easy initial picks, since in Gen 3, all of them are only found in the Safari Zone. Chansey is found in Cerulean Cave in Gen 1, but not 3. Snorlax is the next choice, because while it's not in the Safari Zone, it's definitely rare. The player can catch only 2 in the whole game. Finally, I'd use Dodrio. You can find it and Doduo around the region, but Doduo does run around the Safari Zone. Tauros would be my ace, since while I know Snorlax is stronger, Tauros fits the Safari theme a lot better, and also, I really like it. Should there be a rematch involving Mega Evolution, like how Blue uses Mega Charizard Y in Let's Go, then of course my ace becomes Mega Kangaskhan. When I started this video, I didn't think I was gonna go for normal in any of the regions, but I like this team quite a bit. I've always felt that Giovanni could have been a normal gym leader thanks to his pre-gym usage of Kangaskhan and Persian, but I think his would have had a much different vibe from mine, and I like mine more, because it has Tauros. By the way, I should mention, I will default to 5 Pokemon for most teams in this video. This allows me to show my squad if I were the final gym leader, since 5 is the most that any gym leader has ever used in their initial battle. This way you can also figure out my team if I'm an earlier leader simply by removing and de-evolving team members. For the gym puzzle, it would of course be Safari themed. I picture the player searching out secret switches or objects within a Safari Zone aesthetic maze. Then maybe gym trainers pop out of the tall grass to surprise you. Now on to Johto. This was a bit of a challenge for me due to my own self-imposed rule of the ace Pokemon having to be native to this specific region. Now, many actual gym leaders don't follow that rule themselves, especially in Johto, but I hate that, so I will be holding myself to a higher standard. This makes it tricky in Johto though because of the small amount of new Pokemon that Johto added. Then it gets worse because many of them are baby Pokemon, and then several of my personal favorites are off limits because their specialties overlap with Johto gym leaders, some of them already being gym leader aces. There is one Pokemon that I like that isn't off limits though. Lantern. Blue and yellow, goggles, and cute. It's great. Lantern does cause other problems though. For one, it's not good. It would be an underwhelming ace as a final gym leader. Additionally, I now have to pick whether I want water or electric. There's another Pokemon that solves both of those problems though. Ampharos. It's an iconic Johto Pokemon, yet within the games, it ends up relegated to being a lighthouse bulb. And I'm gonna say it, that is so stupid. Using an actual light bulb would not only be more efficient, but also it'd be more humane. Right now, they're working Amphy to the point of illness. Ampharos is also quite a bit stronger than Lantern, so it can be my ace. And thus I can be an electric type gym leader, which is nice because it's my favorite type. To fill out the rest of the team, I'd use Electabuzz because of Elekid, Jolteon because I like it, and Electrode. I wanted to avoid Raichu because of Lieutenant Surge, and Magneton because Jasmine's already using 2 Magnemites. As for my location, the only 2 open towns are Newbark Town and Cherry Grove City, but those are way too small and uninteresting for my taste. I could go with Olivine City because of the lighthouse, but remember, we don't like that lighthouse. Instead, I'd put my gym in Goldenrod City for 3 reasons. Number 1, the color association. Number 2, the electrical vibes with the radio tower and the magnet train. And number 3, I could put Whitney out of a job. I hate her. I would do it so much better. I'd be so much more professional. If I were to be defeated, I would not cry in front of you. I'd go home and do it in the shower like a normal, healthy person. As for the puzzle, I propose something with circuits. Maybe the player could rotate wires to complete circuits that then light up some big light bulbs and then they move on to the next one. You could do a few in a row and they'd get more complicated with each puzzle until you eventually reach the end. Next is Hoenn, my home region, and this is a team that I've actually built before. Years ago, I did another If I Was a Gym Leader video, but I only did 2 gym leader versions of me. One for Galar, the most recent region at the time, and then one without restrictions. My without restriction gym was a Hoenn grass type gym. Hoenn is such a lush region with several awesome grass types, yet it doesn't have a grass specialist at all. I'm gonna make a few changes to that original team though, because I'm gonna be more restrictive. Originally I had Sceptile because it's my favorite Pokemon, but since gym leaders basically never use starters pre-rematch, I don't feel it works if I use it. My ace would instead be Tropius. I love it and it's the perfect Hoenn jungle Pokemon. It unfortunately, like Lantern, is not great. But that's the developer's fault, not mine. It is a big, flying dinosaur, and yet its base stat total's only 460? I have to live with this one though. Like, it's too perfect to go with a stronger Pokemon. For the rest of the team, Breloom is a must. I love Breloom, as are Ludicolo and Shiftry. To finish it out, I'm using Roselia or Roserade, depending on the version of Hoenn. Cacturne and Cradily are great Pokemon, but they're arid climate grass types, not jungle ones. And then Vileplume and Blossom feel too much like Erica's Pokemon, not a Hoenn leader's. If this team got some kind of post-game rematch though, I would definitely add on Mega Sceptile, since none of the other 5 can Mega Evolve. Fortree City is the easy pick for a gym because it's always been my favorite city in all of Pokemon. Treehouse towns are simply awesome in every piece of media in which they appear. And of course, it's preposterously perfect for a grass gym. For tree. It's built in tree. What, flying? Why flying? Birds build nest in tree? Why? No, that's in tree, not tree. Put Winona in Lily Cove. I don't know what happened there, but you get the point. My gym puzzle would be a maze with treehouse elevators taking you to different floors, much like Byron's gym in Sinnoh. I don't know how people who cannot climb ladders are supposed to live in Fortree. Guess there's no ADA in Hoenn, no HDA, I guess. But maybe the gym leader version of me makes those elevators and then also uses them in his gym. Also, if you want to see me do an entire Hoenn playthrough as a grass gym leader, I did that a few years ago. The team is not exactly the same, but it is close. Haha!
it is I, Guarantee Boy, and I am dying! Now that it's summer, this heat is killing me. A long-sleeve black uniform is not designed for oppressive sunlight.
You know, I actually have an idea that could help distract you from your discomfort. It involves the everyday headphones from Raycon, the sponsor of this video.
Ah, of course! The perfect sidekick for a great summer!
The latest model of the everyday headphones has a 40-hour battery life and a comfortable ergonomic design, letting you enjoy them all day long. They also have hybrid active noise cancellation, which is super nice for getting into my own world at the gym. This is extra impressive because the everyday headphones are half the price of other premium audio brands, and getting noise canceling functionality on headphones under $100 is very rare.
They're fantastic for sure, but what was your idea for how they could help with my heat problem?
You put them on and play the sounds of Antarctica. Frigid winds, cracking icebergs, tap dancing penguins. It could take you to a new mental space and help cool you off.
That's ridiculous. There is no way that... Oh my God, I'm freezing! You're a genius!
I know. Experience premium sound wherever you go. Head to buyraycon.com/MandJTV15 to get 15% off site-wide, linked in the description below.
Thanks, pal. Now to try to do my work without shivering too much. Ta-ta!
Sinnoh is next up, and if you've watched enough of my videos, you know that I love Gliscor. So of course, I will build my team around it. This does mean that Sinnoh Gym Leader me would only work in Platinum's version of Sinnoh, not Diamond Pearl or BDSP, because Gliscor is only in the Platinum Sinnoh decks. And that's great. Why would I want to be a gym leader in a worse version of Sinnoh? Gliscor is ground flying type, so I need to pick one of those. Ground has quite a few Pokemon I like, such as Gastrodon or Mamoswine, but then I would overlap with Bertha. That is allowed, but since flying does not have a Sinnoh specialist, it's easier to go with that. Which works well because... Go Team Sky! With Gliscor as the ace, the next most obvious flying Pokemon is Staraptor. It'd be weird not to have Staraptor on a flying team in Sinnoh. Next, I want Gyarados. The only time a major flying specialist has used Gyarados is Winona in the Pokemon World Tournament, and I think more of them should. It fits especially well in Sinnoh, since it's the only place we ever really get to see Gyarados fly. I'll toss on Chatot, since it's a Sinnoh Pokemon, and then finally Honchkrow as another Sinnoh flying type. There were several other options I could have gone with, including Togekiss, but I didn't want to risk overshadowing Gliscor. For the location, the best fitting town is conveniently one that does not have a gym, that being Floaroma Town. Now, obviously this fits great as a grass gym, but that already exists in Eterna. The reason Floaroma works for a flying gym is because of its proximity to the Valley Windworks. Ho 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 ho! For my gym puzzle, I picture something where you rotate fans to turn some small windmills, kind of like this shrine in Breath of the Wild. Next is Unova, and for simplicity, I'm picking from the expanded Black 2 White 2 decks. Like Sinnoh, I'm picking my type specialty based on one of my favorite Pokemon from that region, Gigalith, which of course makes me a rock gym leader. Also, ideally, this exists in a future version of Unova where Gigalith can have Sandstream because it doesn't normally get that until Gen 7, but that would be super useful for a rock gym. We'll add on Archeops, Caracosta, and Crustle, the only other fully evolved rock types in the Black and White Unova decks. Good thing I said we can use Pokemon from Black 2 White 2. The final Pokemon will be Aggron, since I think it is very cool. Unova actually has quite a few towns that are available as potential gym towns. Anvil Town intrigues me, since putting a gym there would force the player to go there, when in normal gameplay it's totally skippable. Lentimas Town's aesthetic, desert climate, and proximity to a volcano all suit a rock trainer well, but it's just so small. That's why I would choose Undella Town. Sure, it's a beach town, so that would make you think water, but look at all that sand! Sand, I tell you! Sand is rock! Maybe I could work as a geologist supervising Reversal Mountain. If it starts to act up a little bit, I could help deal with that, and then in my off time, I could go to the beach. Not set foot in the water, but build sand castles. Play sand volleyball with a rock. For my gym puzzle, amusingly, rock-type gyms tend to just be simple mazes, if you can even call them that. That's because of the first 4 regions, 3 of them have a rock gym as the first one. Even Grant's gym is a maze, just more vertical. I want a true puzzle for my gym, so I propose maybe you go around collecting shards of crystal, and then you gotta bring them back to this mold and fit them in to get the complete shape done. You know, like a puzzle. Next, we have Kalos. And before we can get into this, I need to explain my biggest problem with Kalos. No Mega Evolution. Okay, not no, but like too little. From the moment you get Mega Evolution after battling Karina atop the tower, you will go on to fight just 2 Mega Evolutions the rest of the main story. Lysander's Mega Gyarados and Diantha's Mega Gardevoir. Combine this with the gym leaders never using more than 3 Pokemon, and the Elite Four only using 4 instead of 5 Pokemon, like they do everywhere else but Unova, and you have arguably the most pitifully easy games in the whole series. I have a video from a few years ago discussing this in more detail. In it, I acknowledge that you could debate whether the gym leaders should all be using Megas as soon as you can, since some regular Pokemon evolve quite late, and that might be quite the mismatch. But I am adamant that from the Lysander Mega Gyarados battle onward, every major boss battle should have had a Mega Evolution. Your team is in the level 50s. The training wheels are off. This includes the final gym leader, Wulfric, who uses Mega Abomasnow in the anime, but then weirdly has this trash team in the game. Wulfric, your rival in the Victory Road, and every Elite Four member should have had a Mega. I bring all this up because I want my Kalos gym leader team to be consistent with my arguments from that video. If I am battled late enough, I need a Mega Evolution. So let's take a look at my options, and I'll only be considering Megas that are available in X and Y. Lucario, Gyarados, and Gardevoir are immediately out because they're already taken. Absol is only used by an NPC in the post-game, that being your rival, but we can scrub that too. Then let's cut out the Megas that I think Wulfric and the Elite Four should have used, and for all but Drasna, explicitly do use in the anime. Manectric and Medicham are out because they fully overlap with gym leader types. Finally, let's cut starters and legends. This leaves us with these Pokemon as my Mega options. But before I can select my Mega, there's another consideration to take into account. My secondary ace. If I am battled too soon to have a Mega Evolution, then I need another Pokemon that is native to Kalos to be my ace Pokemon. For example, Wulfric should have used Mega Abomasnow, but his official ace in the game is Avalugg, and every other gym leader's ace is a Kalos native Pokemon. The group of new Kalos species is infamously quite limited, but there is a standout that allows for a specialty that no other trainer in Kalos uses. That Pokemon is Dragalge. Sure, Drasna has one, but it's not her ace, and she's a dragon trainer. I want to use Poison. What better place to be a poison specialist than the region that added Fairy and thus buffed Poison? This means my Mega would be Mega Gengar, which I think would be awesome and fascinating. Gengar is used extensively by ghost specialists, yet despite being a poison type just as well, the only poison specialist to ever use it is Plumeria, and only in post-game title defense battles. To round out the team, I have a ton of options thanks to Kalos' vast regional decks, so I'm simply picking poison types that I like. Seviper, Nidoking, and Drapion. I'd use a lot of toxic Venoshock shenanigans. My town choice is actually quite easy, Ambret Town. While it has nothing to do with poison, which is a good thing, I don't know why you'd want to live in a place that does. I would need to live somewhere coastal for my Dragalge to have proper accommodations. Choosing the gym puzzle is kind of challenging though, since there have only ever been 2 poison gyms. Fuchsia with invisible walls and Verbank with an underground rock concert. Neither of those have really anything to do with poison, but that's actually probably a good thing. Like, you think about it, a water gym, you put water in it. Okay, cool, nice, perfect. A poison gym? What are you gonna do, put toxic gas in it? That would get you in trouble. Oh, but I could work with acid. Dragalge spits corrosive acid after all, so maybe you would have to navigate around to spill acid on some meltable obstacles, dissolving them and clearing your path. And of course, this is all perfectly safe. You drop the acid from high up, it falls onto a place, and then the acid just drains down, well, a drain. Next up is Alola. which, as you may already know, doesn't have gym leaders, but I don't want to skip it entirely, so I think it makes sense for me to just decide what my specialty and team would be if I was an island kahuna, and not a trial captain. Kahunas make more sense than trial captains for 3 reasons. Number 1, you usually do not have to battle the trial captains. Number 2, I would not own the boss totem Pokemon, and I would like to. And number 3, which is the most crucial one, trial captains age out of their role when they turn 20. And I am 30.
And me, you know, I'm
30
years old. Damn! I'm sorry.
It's also quite challenging to decide on a type. Alola has a lot more major type specialists than most regions, so it's impossible to avoid overlap. Or is it? There is just one type that has no major specialist. Ice. Okay, Cena is described as one, but she doesn't count. She never has more than 2 Pokemon, and also, she is a tourist. She does not live here, she is on vacation. The lack of an Alola Ice Specialist was actually the premise for a playthrough I did a few years ago. So why not make it my focus as a kahuna? It also works nicely since Alolan Ninetales is one of my favorite Alola Pokemon. My final team from that playthrough was Alolan Ninetales, Crabominable, Abomasnow, Mamoswine, Weavile, and Walrein. However, this actually cannot be my team because half of them aren't even in the expanded Ultra Alola Pokedex. I got 3 of them from Island Scan. No wonder Ice doesn't have a specialist in Alola. They're an endangered species. I will hold on to the 3 Pokemon I did use, then add Alolan Sandslash, of course, and then finally Glaceon, since I want to be nice to it. Glaceon has gotten the short end of the stick so many times. Like, it's in so many different regions, but then its rock is just like super late game. Kahunas do not need a puzzle, but they do need an island, and Ula Ula Island is the easy pick, since it has Mount Lanakila. Within it and around it are the only places in Alola, outside Seaward Cave, with more than 1 species of ice type. Next is Galar, which, as I mentioned, I have already discussed in that previous video. But to refresh your memory, I'm basing my team around a specific Gigantamax Pokemon. Every Galar gym leader except Piers has a signature Gigantamax Pokemon, as do several other major characters. So I want one too. These are the Gigantamax forms in the base game that no NPCs use. So if we remove the not fully evolved ones, Mythical Melmetal and Kingler, since we have a water gym already, that leaves only 5 options. I don't much care for 3 of them. I like G-Max Sandaconda, but I really like G-Max Toxtricity. I even used a Toxtricity on my first Sword playthrough team. Then between Poison and Electric, I choose Electric. It's my favorite type, as I mentioned, and I wouldn't want to compete with Clara. Plus, the Electric jersey has Toxtricity's colors. It feels like they set up Galar to have an Electric gym leader that uses a G-Max Toxtricity. Like I said, the uniform is Toxtricity's colors, but then not only did they scrap that idea, they scrapped G-Max Toxtricity. Kind of. Very weirdly, they locked Gigantamax Toxtricity behind limited time events that didn't even start right away. Sword and Shield came out in November of 2019, but you could not get a Gigantamax Toxtricity until the following February. The DLC made it so you can get G-Max Toxtricity at any point. There's Max Soup, there's some raid den somewhere in the Crown Tundra where it can spawn at any point. But if you have the base game, you cannot get it unless you join someone else's raid, like to this day. And to me, that's insane. Like, this is not a fancy legendary Pokemon or even another Gen Pokemon. It's a new Gen 8 Pokemon. Why make this normal Gigantamax form so hard to get? Anyways, my Electric Gym would be double battles, much like Raihan's, so I can take full advantage of electric terrain from Electric Surge Pincurchin. Next would be Volt Absorb Lantern to gobble up some tasty discharges. Then finally, I'd have Vikavolt, one of my favorite Pokemon. Its Levitate means it can't benefit from the electric terrain, but it also ensures the challengers can't just Earthquake through my entire team. They could do that for most of them, but not all of them. No double battle gym battle has ever had more than 4 Pokemon, so this would be it. But to fill out the team for Champions Tournaments or rematches, I'd add on Dracozolt and Boltund, 2 more Galar electric types. For my gym town, I do have to replace an existing gym town because ya boy needs a stadium. Okay, I guess I don't need a stadium. Pierce doesn't have one. But like, then he can't Dynamax his Pokemon. And that's kind of my, like Gigantamax Toxtricity, I need to be able to do that. Fun fact though, the Galar Gym system canonically has a relegation and promotion system built into it, like UK soccer. Clara and Avery are technically minor league gym leaders that are trying to earn promotion and take the spot of one of the 8 major league gym leaders. So canonically, I would take the spot of an existing gym leader rather than build somewhere new. And of the stadiums, I'd choose Turffield. There's nothing electric about it, but I think it's pretty. There's big art of my Toxtricity on the hill. I think my gym puzzle would be a memorize and repeat puzzle. I like to think there's one of those light up music tap pads that some artists use, but it's really big and it plays a light music melody pattern that you have to memorize and then do it yourself. And then the more you go through it, the more that music factors into the music of the gym. So by the time you reach me, the gym leader, it's playing a pretty sick beat. Also, I have done a playthrough as a Galar Electric Gym Leader. It doesn't follow this team exactly, but I do use Gigantamax Toxtricity. Finally, Paldea. Like many of the other regions, I'm basing my team around one of my favorite Pokemon from that region, or in this case, my #1 favorite, Armarouge. This immediately means that I would be a Fire-type Gym Leader, since Tulip is already a Psychic Leader. However, I would not just use Armarouge as my ace. I would use Armarouge and Cerulege together in double battles, which is allowed since Rhyme does that. Think about how cool that is. 2 brother Pokemon, similar but opposites, working together, one with a cannon, one with blades. That's so cool. Why didn't they do that? I also just really want to use them because they are the coolest and some of the most popular Paldea Pokemon, yet they actually feel quite overlooked within the game itself since almost no one uses them. Mila technically uses Armarouge as her ace, but only in optional post-game rematches, since her initial battle is just Torkoal and the Starmobile. And then, shockingly, I could not find a single major NPC that ever uses Cerulege. This frankly awesome pair does cause a problem though, because it breaks Paldea's gym leader theme. This is that exception I mentioned back at the beginning of the video. The Paldea gym leader aces are not Paldea Pokemon, and are in fact not Pokemon of their type specialty at all. They use other region Pokemon that then terrastalize into the leader's specialty. Bug leader Katie uses Bug Terra Teddiursa. Grass leader Brassius uses Grass Terra Sudowoodo, etc. How can I use Armarouge as my ace when it's both a Paldea Pokemon and one that's already Fire type? Larry actually half saves me. For his normal gym battle, his ace is Staraptor, which is already normal type and just terrastalizes into pure normal. However, Staraptor is of course not a Paldea Pokemon. The Elite Four aces are Paldea Pokemon that are already their type specialty, including Larry when he's a flying specialist, but that's the Elite Four, not the gym leaders. But then it came to me, a brilliant solution. First, we'll make it so Armarouge is not my ace, but it's my lead alongside Cerulege. This guarantees that the two are seen together. Then we'll add Scovillain, another Paldea Fire type that with its Grass type actually counters all of Fire's weaknesses. Then finally, for the ace, Terra Fire, Storm Drain, Gastrodon. Storm Drain protects both its partners and itself from water moves, meaning this Gastrodon is only weak to ground and rock, two types that it is strong against thanks to its water and ground stab. I would use the West Sea form since while I prefer the East Sea generally, the West Sea's colors and aesthetics feel more fire than East Sea. The only issue with this plan is that all of the other gym leader aces naturally learn an attacking move of their Terra type. Katie's Teddiursa knows Fury Cutter, Iono's Mismagius knows Charge Beam, etc. But they created Terra Blast for a reason. I'm just gonna use that. These would be the core 4 for the gym battle, since as mentioned, no double battle gym leader ever has more than 4 in the initial battle. But for any later rematches that allow for more, which they do, Rhyme has both a team of 5 and a team of 6 at some point, I'd first add Drought Torkoal for obvious reasons, It would weaken Gastrodon's water moves, but I can live with that. And then finally would be Arcanine for Intimidate. My gym's location would be Zapapico. There's no current gym, and it's the town where you obtain the armors to evolve Charcadet, so it feels appropriate. As for the gym puzzle, Paldeas are a bit weird because none of them actually occur within the gym itself. The battles don't even occur there. I don't know why the buildings are so tall. You don't do anything other than go in the lobby. Since I need to make use of the surrounding area, I propose the lighting of torches around Zapapico. But to make it more fun, you have to shoot arrows to do it. You could use a bow or a crossbow or a ballista. My thinking is that since Armarouge and Ceruledge are knights, using medieval weaponry would be very cool. And worry not, we would have staff on standby to put out any misses. And it's not like there's much vegetation around Zapapico anyways. And those are my gyms in every region. Let me know your favorite in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching. If you want to see another one of my videos where I'm making stuff up in relation to gym leaders, check out this video where I pick a new set of gym leaders from existing trainers for building my new Pokemon League.